Hello and welcome to DATAVERSITY Talks, a podcast where we discuss with industry leaders and experts how they have built their careers around data. I'm your host, Shannon Kemp, and today we're talking to Ryan Welsh, the founder and CEO at Kyndi. Hello and welcome. My name is Shannon Kemp, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer at DATAVERSITY, and this is my career in data, a DATAVERSITY Talks podcast dedicated to learning from those who have careers in data management, to understand how they got there, and to be talking with people who help make those careers a little easier. To keep up to date in the latest data management education, go to dataversity.net/subscribe. And today we are joined by Ryan Welsh, the founder and CEO at Kyndi. And normally this is where a podcast host would read a short bio of the guest, but in this podcast, your bio is what we are here to talk about. Ryan, hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So tell me, founder and CEO at Kyndi, what is Kyndi and what do you do?
Yeah, we're a natural language processing company, so we help enterprises get value out of their unstructured text data. Specifically, if you kind of think about NLP, it has 5, now probably 6 major categories. If you were to look in a undergrad textbook, one of those categories is natural language search, and so we help enterprises primarily with natural language search. They can interact with our software via the search bar, or we've been seeing more and more chat interfaces. So it's interesting times.
Very cool. So who are typical users of your product?
Yeah, the users can be internal or external folks. And so if you're an external customer coming to a website wanting to learn about a company's product and services, you can use Kyndi natural language search to ask questions of the unstructured text data on the site and actually be pointed to the answer on the site. So it's super easy to use. And then also internally, employees will use the service for searching policies and procedures. And so or all types of other stuff. So it's really anywhere where there's unstructured text and people are trying to find the answer.
So tell me, so when you were very young, is this what you wanted to be when you grew up? You're like, I'm going to grow up and be a founder and CEO of a natural language company.
No, not at all. Honestly, I'm kind of jealous of people that have a really early understanding of what they want to be. You know, there's some people that I grew up with or knew later on. They're like, I always knew I was going to be a lawyer or a doctor, and they've been working on it since they were 9. I'm super jealous of those people. That was not me. I have so many interests that you just kind of hop around, and you just find things that are interesting. But I would say the one thing that was always of interest to me, and maybe it's all those interests, is understanding things. And I feel like people who work in data are just curious, and their natural inclination is to then go, all right, well, let me go read something, let me go download a bunch of data in a spreadsheet and see if I can understand it. And so, no, I didn't know that I was going to be a founder and CEO of a software startup, but I was always curious about learning new things, and I think that just then came to analyzing data and looking at data, and here I am.
I can totally relate to that. I suffered from that jealousy myself.
Yeah, it was like the other last year I was thinking about buying a home, and it was funny, which was the worst time to buy a home. Particularly in the Bay Area, everything was 100% more than the year before. But immediately downloaded a bunch of data from I think it was Zillow or Redfin or one, and I have basically the years 2 or 3 years worth of housing data with square footage, and I'm applying statistical models and predicting home prices, and and this is in the hour that I have before bed. Yeah.
Well, I love it. Well, so how then did you get from to where you are? Where did you start out? What did you study?
Yeah, my undergrad degree is actually in anthropology with a minor in math. And then I went and did a graduate degree in applied math, which is basically just, at least in this instance, economics. And then I went and did a economics and quantitative finance. And then I went and did an MBA at the University of Notre Dame. And when I got out from the University of Notre Dame, I actually started working for a group of folks in the DC area, helping them commercialize technologies coming out of national laboratories. And so there's a lot of like really cool tech that the national labs create, whether it was like low orbit satellites, defensive cyber capabilities, quantum cryptography. And so it's like all this really cool technology. And I was like, man, maybe I could start a business around something in the deep tech space, which then kind of led me to think about, where is the world going? And in 2012, with deep learning making some pretty significant improvements, I kind of focused on the natural language space. And so that's how I kind of like evolved to get here, just kind of having a major macro thesis on kind of where the world was going, and then taking a bet on myself to build something to solve some problems.
Well, that's very impressive, and that certainly took some courage. So what made you finally pull the trigger and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm going to develop, and what made you take that leap?
Yeah, the biggest so I'll get there, but someone wrote me a pretty sizable check and said, come back when you have a business, which was hilarious. And so I had a macro thesis that, this was in 2013, 2014, where I said by 2025, all knowledge workers would need some form of AI or machine learning enabled workflow, and specifically around unstructured text data, because I felt like we were the bottleneck in the modern production process. And when I say we, I mean people, because we can store a bunch of data, we can move a bunch of data back and forth. We can even process a bunch of data, provided that it's structured and computers can actually process it. But on the unstructured data side, like as soon as it hits our eyes, you and I can only read at a speed that is similar to what our parents and grandparents could read at. And so we're still reading at a page a minute,
Right.
And so it's kind of like, oh, that's interesting. So like in a modern knowledge economy, we're effectively the bottleneck in this modern production process. And so it was like, could you create technologies to kind of amplify the productivity of people to kind of increase that output around these knowledge intensive tasks, which underlying those tasks was unstructured text data. And so, just kind of having that macro thesis, I asked around for some technical co-founders, and a gentleman that I was working with here, an early investor in Kyndi. I got back to his office and he pulled out his checkbook and he wrote me $100,000 check and said, come back when you have a business.
Wow.
And I was like, guess I need to start a business now. And
That's amazing. That's quite the story. That's very nice.
yeah, he's an incredible angel investor in the DC area. His name is Jim Hunt. So I'll say his name because he's a venture capitalist over at Loverock Ventures here in DC, even though Kyndi, we're based in the Bay Area. So I'll give a shout out to Jim. There's probably several dozen people like me that Jim had done that to. He's also a professor over at Georgetown. He teaches entrepreneurship and venture capital over there. So just an incredible person, and he probably did, single-handedly built the DC tech ecosystem.
I love it. I love stories like that. I mean, it's just relationships are so important in how we move forward.
Visit DATAVERSITY.net and expand your knowledge with thousands of articles and blogs written by industry experts, plus free live and on-demand webinars covering the complete data management spectrum. While you're there, subscribe to the weekly newsletter so you'll never miss a beat.
So tell me, I mean, with all this experience and in your diving into this, so what is your definition of data?
Yeah, my definition is and this is a bit of a loosey-goosey definition, is any information that is annoying to comprehend manually. And so it's like, and so it's like, if you have, two cells in an Excel spreadsheet where it says like 2021 revenue, 2022 revenue, that's probably not data, because you can look at it and be like, oh, 2022 revenue was higher or lower than 2021. But if you have data going back 50 years or information going back 50 years and you want to know that, hey, how much did it go up compared to 50 years ago? And you're now doing changes in that, like you've now crossed over into the realm of that's data, even though it's pretty small data. It's not, terabytes and petabytes of data, but it's large enough to be annoying to just quickly comprehend manually.
I love that definition. That's fantastic. And with these predictive models that you've had, and this analysis that you've done, and your thesis, do you see the importance of data management and the number of jobs working with data increasing or decreasing over the next 10 years, and why?
Yeah, my marketing team's going to be a little upset with me because we're going to make I'll say it here first. But I actually, we'll come out with a kind of predictions thing for 2023, but I actually think we're past peak data scientists, which is a bit of a hot take. And the reason why is, and when I think of data scientists, it's not necessarily someone that can like just comprehend and use statistical tools to understand data, but like there's been this, for the last several years, like automation of certain data science techniques. So you can think about like auto ML, there's now like auto NLP. And so like, do you really need to like build algorithms? Do you need to do any programming to do complex statistical analysis anymore? Probably not, right? I mean, you still need to understand like what are the right techniques to apply to data, and what are the right techniques in actually understanding any biases in the underlying data or the technique that you're using. So there's still like that type of data science, I'll call like job that's going to be available. But like this previous notion of like, hey, I'm going to be a quant finance person, or I'm going to be a data scientist, like writing my own code and doing my own analysis. Like I think we're past that. And I think we're past it because a lot of vendors have created a lot of really awesome capabilities to get around that. I think it's a major bottleneck in the deployment and the success of AI and machine learning in the enterprise. And so I think a lot of people have gotten around like, hey, let's just skip the data science team and go right to developers and right to line of business. Or can we make it easier for the data science team to build models and pass those off to the developers and line of business people who actually put them into production? So candidly, I think we're past peak data scientist. Yeah.
Do you see it shifting then to need more analysts, or?
Yeah. I kind of think about like data science as evolving to be kind of like a business analyst. Mm-hmm. Like, if you think about a business analyst, like they're not a coder. They're not gonna, write product code that is right. World-class, awesome code. But hey, they're technical, right? And they understand how to do SQL queries, and they know some things. But most importantly, they know the business problem, and they know when management comes to them and says, hey, can you model? Can you show me what our how many red shoes we sold in Kentucky over the last 50 years? They'll come back with a visualization and show that manager, and they'll be able to manipulate the data and kind of do those queries and get that information back into a visualization capability. And so I think like kind of, a data scientist is going to look more like a business analyst in the future than what was previously like this like hardcore data science. I remember in graduate school using it was like SAS, the kind of more advanced statistical packages. Like, I remember writing, or programming to do advanced kind of statistical analysis on economic data and financial data. This was in graduate school, so that'd be like 2003, 2004, 2005. You don't need to do that anymore. I upload housing prices to a data robot or an H2O, and I hit go, and it'll kick out the best model for me. And so that's where I think we're going.
That's very cool. And then also on that fringe, then where do you see like data architects and modelers fitting in there? To set up those really cool tools and to ensure they stand up and maintain the quality and so forth. Yeah. Still
critical. Still critical, folks. I think that's still a hard problem for a lot of enterprises. Is like pulling all this data together, getting the right kind of like just like working environment for people to get value out of the data that an enterprise has. So I think all that's still going to maintain some strength there. But this like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I kind of like envision like this data scientist as like the sexy thing, where it's like, I'm gonna go do this awesome thing and don't bother me for a month, and I'm gonna give you insights that you've never seen before, and your mind's gonna be blown and your hair's gonna be blown back, and it's gonna be incredible. And so I feel like that is kind of like we're a bit past that, but in a good way, right? Where it's kind of like, do I really want to go back to writing like SAS programming for advanced statistical? Absolutely not, right? We want to make it super easy. So maybe data scientists can focus on higher value things than some of the lower value stuff that was kind of backlogged.
With a robust catalog of courses offered on demand and industry-leading live online sessions throughout the year, the DATAVERSITY Training Center is your launchpad for career success. Browse the complete catalog at training.dataversity.net and use code DVTalks for 20% off your purchase.
Very cool. Definitely a bigger ROI in that.
Absolutely. And I think there's a bigger ROI in text data. And so I kind of have this, if I were to compare things to like financial markets, I would say like the edge that people can get now is all in text data and all in unstructured text. Because I feel like all the structured numerical data has been manipulated and modeled and, combed over because it was easy to look at and easy to analyze and easy to apply statistical models to. And I think like the real edge in anything is getting those insights out of unstructured data, which is really where the world's been going for the last 10 years now, with whether it was computer vision or video analysis, and now just all the incredible stuff that's coming out in natural language processing. Like that is an incredibly hot field that I think is really compelling and super interesting.
Indeed. So then what advice would you give to people looking to get into a career in some aspect of data management, whether it be an analyst or a data scientist or?
Do it. When I say that, like, I feel, I don't know, it's you just gotta go do it. I mean, there's things that you need to learn. So when you're doing an advanced kind of more advanced statistical analysis, you want to understand the techniques that you're using. So one of the like potential downfalls of like all these automated tools is that they're all automated and you actually don't know what's going on under the hood. Whereas like previously, like I remember my parents telling me about math. They're like, I know math because, we had to do it, really manually. And I'm doing it on like a TI-83 calculator and plotting charts and stuff like that. Right. And so like one of the challenges is you start to then like not really understand the underlying fundamentals. So like, if you're really interested, I would like recommend folks to like really get down to the nitty gritty of like understanding all the different techniques. But then specifically understanding kind of what types of data you want to look at. Because it's funny, like, when you talk to someone in the AI space and friends will say, oh, Ryan, you work in the AI space and this person over here works in the AI space. You should get together. Then I'll talk to the person and they're in computer vision and I'm in NLP and we have nothing to talk about. we have nothing to talk about. Maybe we can, bond a little bit over transformer models and stuff like that, which is kind of more common these days for this kind of analyses. But you're really going to have to focus your tool set on the type of data that you're going to want to look at. And so, maybe there's a type of data that really appeals to people. And if so, focus on that, learn the tools that are best for that, and then just get after it.
Yeah. So, with data scientists and analysts, those are a couple of, degrees that people can major in, but what's not being taught in school? What's missing from that curriculum for the practical? Is it just learning the tools and the technology, and how do you keep up to date on the latest tech?
Yeah. Well, I read tons of papers. So I'm like still like just like in the research. So I love like just reading all the research articles. So you can like follow folks on Twitter and LinkedIn, and there's a lot of people that are posting just awesome stuff that's consistently coming out. And I'm like in our Slack channel, I'm like consistently posting like the new bleeding edge AI papers from archive, and it's just like my team's like, all right, we get it. Like stop posting all this new stuff. So I'm constantly, I'm a voracious reader, so I'm reading all all that information. So that's how I generally stay up to date on things. And then as far as like the different tools, like, it's really just, I think about like, just doing it. Like if you're a curious person and you're getting into data science, then you're just going to be doing this stuff, I would imagine, just in your spare time. So just continue to do that. You'll get really good at it, and then someone's going to pick you up for a job, and you'll be doing it professionally. And now you'll be doing what you love professionally.
I love it. So it's been kind of a theme through the conversation is be curious. Like curiosity has moved you forward. It's a way to keep moving forward in anything, and it's a great message.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, like I think people that work in data are just naturally curious, and then you're trying to pull down a data set to analyze it. and also like except for maybe some startup founders, most people in data science are a bit humble too, probably, like in the sense that like, I don't know the answer to the question, so let me analyze it. So like, oh, that's a curious question. Let me go try to pull 10,000 articles and see what the answer is. Like people normally wouldn't say that. Or let me go see 50 years worth of housing data and see what if I can predict 2023 housing prices. Like people normally wouldn't do that, because it probably normally wouldn't, question themselves going like, hey, do I actually know the answer to this question? And, a lot of times you'll say, no, I don't actually understand this. So let me actually use the tools that I have, that I've learned, from undergrad or graduate degree or some accreditation course, to actually then pull that data. I will also say probably a critical thing has probably become more and more important is really understanding like the business case for it. I think one of the biggest challenges today in the enterprise that we see is just not a clear connection between the folks that are kind of doing the more advanced modeling and like the business outcome and what the line of business is trying to doing and try to do. And so like if you're in a data science course or you're a statistics major or something like that, if you can take business courses and just really understand like, hey, what's the business actually trying to do? Like, what is marketing trying to do with this? Marketing's trying to target specific people so that they can get leads to fill the top of the funnel, which then goes to the salespeople, who can then close deals, who can then generate revenue. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. What business KPIs I'm driving. So if there are just kind of basic business courses that you can take to really tie all that together, I think you'll have a leg up on most people in the data science space.
That's very sage advice. Is there a couple of resources that you are your go-to, that your favorites for your articles and research?
That's a great question. I actually can't think of any top of mind, because I just pull from like all the social networks. And so, folks that just post stuff. So again, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or, Google alerts, and stuff like that, I just pull all that, and I can't say I remember where the actual URL points to, but
your favorite sources through networking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love it. Well, Ryan, this is amazing. Thank you so much. So, and I'll be remiss if I don't ask, if people want to find out more about Kyndi, where should they go?
Oh yeah, they should definitely go to Kyndi.com, www.kyndi.com. I feel like you have to say that. And then we have tons of white papers there. Folks tons of content on the site. People can reach out. Happy to set up demos and just talk to anyone and kind of share more about what it is that we do. I think the natural language search space is just a super compelling and interesting space right now. A lot of companies are popping up, large and small. A lot of money from the venture capital space is going into natural language search. So they should definitely check us out, and always happy to chat with people.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's everything. Hopefully it was provided some good advice to the folks out there.
Oh, very sage advice. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And for all of our listeners out there, if you'd like to keep up to date on the latest podcasts and the latest in data management education, you may go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Until next time. Thank you for listening to DATAVERSITY Talks, brought to you by DATAVERSITY. Subscribe to our newsletter for podcast updates and information about our free educational articles, blogs, and webinars at dataversity.net/subscribe.